and darker. I lost 30,000 in like 4 hours.
What?
I screamed to the heavens and to Odin to nerf rogues. They're just 1 and 2 shotting me inherently, just continually from stealth, sitting in doorways. I never saw him, never heard him. And so I've got a little personal issue with that
Vendetta.
class.
Yeah.
But since then, it's been good. I was wearing a lot of legacy gear, so I brought it on myself, all the +2, +3 all gear. And I was wearing cloth. So since then, we've deviated from our build a little bit. Now we wear a couple pieces of plate to hopefully deflect a stab or two.
Honestly,
But,
this
yeah.
is kind of a reoccurring theme. It feels like maybe we should make it a weekly bit where we just complain about rogues for the first
I like
10 minutes
that.
of every
10
podcast.
minutes?
Yeah,
I
get
could
10
go
minutes of
for
just
hours, so 10
venting.
minutes. Good
Well,
cap.
he brought receipts, right? We're gonna feature one of those clips later, I believe.
Yes,
oh
we
yeah,
are.
Nice.
Yes, we are.
I hate rogues,
Mhm.
man. I really do.
Yeah. That's
How do you
just the
feel
only
about rogue?
class. Go ahead.
How do you feel about rogues, Soma? You having fun fighting rogues?
You know, they are kind of fun to play sometimes, but as soon as you play against them, the game fucking sucks. So how about
they're
that?
fun to play. That's why. That's why everyone's doing it. That's why every lobby
Yeah.
is 7 rogues and 10
Yeah.
other humans.
No, they're really annoying. I've been preaching about it for a while now. I think they need to scale down weak point a little bit. I think weak point's too good, and they need to dial down the damage scaling stats a little bit, just in general for burst across the board for everyone. But yeah, rogue is definitely an issue.
Yeah.
We talk about it every week, and I'm never really sure how we could fix rogue without ruining it as a class. Because I feel like the big problem is ambush and stealth, and like a lot of the time, you know a rogue is in a room, you know they're there, but some classes don't have the tools to get them out of stealth. And even though you know they're there, they did a poor job as a rogue hiding. They didn't, successfully hide themselves. You know they're there, but they will still get you because you have to go that direction. And that's kind of frustrating. I feel like every class should have some way to at least get them out of stealth if you know they're there. In my opinion.
I mean, look, I think the rogue, like I said, it's fun. It needs to be a glass cannon, right? That's the rogue archetype. It pops like a pimple, but it can shred anything, right? Like, I get it. Yes, a bad rogue will be punished severely if you know they're there and you light orb them or something like that. You throw an explosive bottle at them. They're a little screwed. But even a rogue that doesn't roll stealth, just a combat rogue with double jump, is also a menace. And it's just the burst damage in general it's just too quick. Watching Repose melt, an 80% PDR fighter and high roller with like 3 or 4 slashes,
right?
And they're deleted in a second or less. Look, I'm sure it's super fun, and I have mad respect for Repose. The guy's a god. But playing against that is just not a good time, especially if, like you said, there's only one route you can take. Circle's closing, the door's ahead of you. You know there's a fucking rogue asshole hiding in there. You have no choice but to push forward. You know someone in the party is going to die, essentially. It just feels bad. Yeah, but at the same time, I get it. Like, the rogue is supposed to be able to produce that kind of damage. He's supposed to be able to escape. He's supposed to be able to evade. He is supposed to pop when he takes too much damage too quick, right? So I get it, but I mean, how do they fix it without, like you said, ruining the class completely? I don't know. They need something out of their bag of tricks, right? And that's burst damage.
Yeah, I agree. Or mobility, but that's also a frustrating thing to balance too.
Everyone can be mobile at this point in the game, depending on the comp and the build.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Usually when I think of classes and some of their fundamentally broken abilities, I'm like, oh, there's an obvious way to fix it. But when it comes to rogue, I'm like, I really don't know how to fix it without ruining the class. I know lots of people like playing it, and I know people have so much fun playing it. I don't want to ruin the class. I really don't. But I feel like it's creating way more feel bad moments than feel good moments for the people playing it. A lot
Honestly,
of people...
rogues do suck, but I think Ranger is more annoying. Last night I was playing in normals, and I ran into just game after game after game teams with at least one Ranger, sometimes 2 with a rogue. 2 Rangers and a rogue. I ran into that, I don't know, half a dozen times in 3 games. Just back to back to back to back. Nothing you can do. I was playing my Barbarian as well. And when every single scuffle with another group of players is multiple rangers. I find that more annoying than rogues,
So
personally.
what do you find frustrating on rangers? Just too high damage?
Yes, I think damage is too high because obviously longbow is what everyone's going to be using. And I also think that the just innate slow of an arrow hitting you, it has to go. It doesn't make sense. There shouldn't be a 15% slow perk for shooting someone in the legs, but also a 15 or 20% slow from taking an arrow anywhere in the body. I think that they should completely ditch the slowdown from all projectiles, including Francisca axe. If you want to slow someone down with a Francisca axe, you pop Achilles heel or Achilles strike rather, and you throw the axe at someone. But all projectiles should not have a slow. I think if you want a slow attached to your arrows, you got to take that 15% slowdown perk as a ranger or something like that.
Agreed.
No,
I think that's one way to fix it. I also think that if you hold a arrow in your bow for longer than 2 seconds, your hand should start to shake.
Yep.
So you can't just like continuously hold the bow forever.
Oh yeah, bad accuracy.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That's
also
actually a really good
think,
idea.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, and I
Doesn't
think
Tarkov
that,
do something like that? Isn't there a stabilization thing like you become?
You have stamina.
Yeah, you have stamina.
Right.
So if you have
Yeah.
idiots for too long, you run out of stamina, then all of a sudden your aim is shit.
Right.
So yeah, that
And
makes
I
sense.
think the top damage of longbows needs to be adjusted a little bit as well. And I think at a certain range, there should be a damage penalty. Like if you're trying to snipe from across the map, after the arrow starts to drop, the damage should start to drop a little bit.
Well, that does exist.
That's already in. Yeah, they already added that.
Good,
There is
good.
damage fall off based on distance.
But it could be lower, or it could be more.
It could be lower. I agree with just like a 8 to 10% damage nerf at especially the top ends of bows. Like not even top end, like blue to gold, just 10% off the top.
I think just longbows. I think we want people to actually play with more recurve bows, more survival.
Okay.
We want to see
maybe
diversity.
crossbows.
And
Okay.
the longbows are the real
right.
problem.
I think
And then-
survival bows should have like 15 arrows, not 10. And the damage should go up by like 1 for each level of survival bow. And the final thing I would change with Ranger is the headshot perk. I would take it from 15% extra damage to 5.
Yeah.
That's it.
Whatever makes it viable. I play the Serbo a little bit more Ranger just for funsies, and it feels fun to play. It's just it's just too weak. It's just too weak. It's not viable. Sadly.
Right.
And you want Rangers to actually have to think about, oh, am I going to be playing recurve today? I'm going to be playing. This is going to be my longbow build. Am I playing a movement speed survival bow build where I'm cutting people? Like you want people to actually think about making those choices instead of just default longbow. Oh, my gray longbow is better than this blue recurve because longbow is just so much better in every way.
So I've seen a streamer, seriously Soapy, who's really gaining a lot of viewers. He plays only crypts, 1v3. He plays solo, goes 1v3 in the crypts as a ranger. He runs longbow and survival bow. Those are his 2 weapon sets. And he treats that survival bow like a shotgun. If anybody gets close, he's quite good at it. So I agree though. I think the survival bow in general needs a little buff to be viable in most people's hands, because I'm always hesitant to say, oh, I saw one guy pull it off and he happens to be a good streamer. Like that's anecdotal, right? Like we need more evidence across the board that the survival bow is being used. And I can tell you based on more than one attempted transaction in the trade chat that a survival bow does not sell for anything. I tried to bundle like three blue survival bows for 50 gold and no one's buying them. You know, it's like, it's not happening.
The only time a survival is good, in my opinion, is when you're shooting at a wizard because they have 0 PDR. I get hit for like half my HP by a survival bow. It's silly, but that's just a wizard problem, not a survival bow thing.
Or just chasing because it puts out DPS so fast, and like someone mentioned, basically all projectiles slow right now. I think instead of moving projectiles being unable to slow, I think take away the perk where they're slowed by 15 if you hit them in the leg, and all projectiles in the leg should slow. Because you're already sacrificing damage, and you have to choose: do I want to hit them in the back with the Francisca for like somewhat high damage, or do I hit them in the leg for a 15% slowdown?
Yeah,
but at the same time, I mean, yeah, I think that would work. That would be enough. And then headshots already do 150. So if we take the perk from 15 to 5, I still think people would take it. Probably not. It probably needs to be like 7.5. 5 sounds pretty low.
Yeah, we just don't want people getting one shot. Getting one shot doesn't feel good for any
Right.
class. And longbows are
Mhm.
big culprit of one-shotting many people, me included.
Yeah, I like the damage scaling. Let's take, we already removed +2 and 3 all. Let's remove +2 and 3 weapon damage. That way the fights actually do go longer.
I don't think you remove this. I think weapon damage just has to be lowered as a stat in general. I don't think you want to like remove +3 weapon damage gear. I just think weapon damage as a stat in general scales damage way too hard, and they had to dial it back for all classes.
Okay. So dial back weapon damage and put like power and physical damage or something.
Just
right-
any
right now-
damage scaling stat in
Yeah.
general should be dialed down.
Well, weapon
Just
damage
the math
is
itself.
by far the strongest for scaling for rogues, for rangers, for any physical damage. Weapon damage is better than flat fizz, better than strength, better than fizz power by like a mile. It's not even close.
The only issue I see with this is that right now the game speed is so fast and the time to kill is so low that you can actually theoretically outplay multiple opponents. Even if you're caught out, you can still get kills. If you lower things too much, basically anytime you're third partied, you just lose. And that's what happens a lot in battle royales. And that's why they added to Fortnite where you get your health and shield back on a kill, so you can theoretically sustain through a third party, or if you're locust fighting. But if we make all the numbers too small and the fights go too long, you will just always lose if you're caught out in locust or you're caught out in third party and you've been exchanging.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
hear
like,
that.
if,
But
if,
the
even if
fights
you're
are
one
like
shot
5
as a
seconds.
ranger, like you could still turn around and like triple shot somebody and survive. So there comes a point where like we lose time to kill and then we just gain like feels bad because you're getting third partied all the time and you don't have the DPS to kill someone. So I think we're in a good spot with the +2 and 3 all gone, nerfs to ranger, little nerf to rogue in some way. Not that hard. I always mention it every week, but audio cue on into stealth and out of stealth. That fixes so many issues. We know they're there, probably. We have time to react if they come out of stealth, something.
And my weekly rant about traps, get rid of them.
It needs to
Hey,
be a
Rogue,
perk. Don't get rid of
you
them. It should
guys
be a
might
perk
know
and
the
it should
answer to
slow in
this.
damage.
When rogues come out of hiding from using an invisibility potion, do they still get their ambush bonus?
Yep.
They
Yep.
do?
And,
Okay.
and wizard invis. Pretty toxic. I'm not sure. Maybe they should get rid of that too. Because that's kind of, I don't know.
That's
That
really
seems
strong.
kind of.
That actually makes sense to me, but we need
It makes
the
I mean,
sense.
we
it's
need the
strong.
invis queue.
I like it for the pots. I'm not sure if I like it for like invis or whiz invis.
Yeah. It's true on Wiz Invis because it also lasts X amount of well, you're still ambushing. My main thing is I feel like if you get hit and you have ambush already on, like if you come out of stealth or you get hit, that should be gone. Like you're no longer ambushing anybody. If you get hit out of your stealth, your ambush is gone. You have wasted it. You should have ambushed.
Is there a global cooldown on it, or can you every time you?
It's 3 seconds. Like I don't think it's
so nothing.
I think it's
Jeez.
nothing. Yeah.
I guess maybe make the GCD on that a little higher. Maybe 10 seconds. I don't know.
Like I
Maybe.
think the GCD is 0, but like once they're out of stealth, they have 3 seconds, which is a lot, and it's probably affected by their buffs and stats too, so it could be longer.
But to touch back on traps, because I fucking hate traps. I think we should remove the snare on traps. I think it should be a slow, it should be damage, and it should be a loud audio cue. It should be something to like protect the flank and let you know if somebody is flanking you,
Right.
and like slow them down to stop the push. But it shouldn't be like a free kill if somebody steps in it, because that's silly. I feel like every door I go through, I'm looking at the floor, and I feel so stupid. Just like I spend half my game just looking at the ground because I just don't want to die randomly.
Yeah, that's
I
one
think
shot.
it's a good change that they got rid of the skill check. I think the time to get free of it, to loosen it off of you, should be like cut in half. It needs to be way faster. It shouldn't be, as you said, a free kill pretty much whenever you step in a ranger's trap, because it takes a little bit too long to get out of it. Now, should there be, I don't think there should be damage over time on it. I think that sucks. I like that there's a chain so you can move around a little bit, but it should be just a snare. It got me. I have, a second and a half where I have to pull it off of me. That's it. Move on. That's how it should be. No damage, no skill check, no fucking 3 seconds fiddling with that shit. It should be a quick fucking pull off. That's it.
It's literally half my HP, unexaggerated half my HP.
Yeah, it's not. It does way too much damage. There should be initial damage, but no damage over time. Or if they're gonna keep the damage, no initial damage and just a slight damage over time while you're trying to get it off you. So it just does a few damage, but
You could probably stack one trap and like a rogue's cattle traps, and it'll probably kill me. And a lot of squishy, but that'd be actually kind of funny. That might
Actually, would
It's
be
a good
that's a good
idea.
video. Yeah,
that sounds
idea.
miserable.
Got 'em
Don't
in
take
the-
that
got 'em
idea,
in the
Jet.
trap
Don't do
pit.
it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be toxic.
4 caltrops and 4 ranger traps. You probably just killed somebody.
Mhm.
You probably killed the whole group.
That sounds miserable, actually. Don't do it. Those poor souls. But anyway, you guys want to maybe touch on some of the patch notes? A pretty
Sure.
big balance
Yes.
patch. Was yesterday, day before? I lose track of time. I barely sleep. Was it
I
was
think
it Wednesday?
yesterday?
Yesterday. Today's Wednesday.
Yeah, it was
Today's
yesterday.
Wednesday. Yep.
Yep.
Who am I? Where am I? Alright. So first things first, let's just talk about the movement speed hard cap. How do we feel about that? Let's go down the board. What do you think, so bad?
I think it's great.
Thumbs up. Yep.
You
yeah,
too?
thumbs up.
You too? All right.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
So me, I think it's a net gain for sure. I think it's like a band-aid issue to an overarching problem. I think they realize they have too many speed star raids in the game via whiz haste, agility stacking, speed shrines, bard buffs, and they realize they kind of messed up. And I feel like this is like a band-aid on a broken leg type thing, where they just put a hard cap for now until they eventually figure out some of these movement speed issues, and maybe they'll remove it in the future. But I think for now, just as like a quick fix, it's doing this job, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
Agreed.
kind of just crescendo off of that. Speed shrines. Can we get rid of them? Can we just get rid of them?
I love
I-
it.
You love them?
I want Diablo shrines. We talked about it last week, so I won't touch into it too much. But I don't want to look at a shrine and know what it's going to do. I want to grab a shrine and it's one of 6 RNG effects that are like kind of positive or kind of cool, and maybe one
or
curse.
negative.
Yeah, like
Ooh,
1
that
or
sounds
2
cool.
curses, and it's nothing insane. It's not 30% damage. It's not like 30% speed. It's like 25% more gold from monsters for 2 minutes, or like plus 50 luck for 2 minutes.
I like that
your
idea.
your weapon
Yep.
does lightning damage. It's only like 3, but it's something. Like I don't know.
That's
Like
great.
it would just be fun to get. Like everybody would want them at that point. And then the
That's
a
curse
good
doesn't
idea.
even have to be bad. Like the curse can be you turn into a mimic for 10 seconds. I don't know.
And
That
I
would-
kind
that
of
would actually be really funny.
I hate shrines because at least in High Roller it kind of homogenizes the gameplay. Every time you load into High Roller map, you're like, oh, all right, we're in. Okay, run to the shrine room. Okay, race. All right, we're at the shrine. Oh shit, somebody beat us here. They have shrines. Okay, we can't fight for a minute. Run. We have to wait now. We can't fight these guys. They have a barbarian with a shrine. They're gonna run us over. And if it feels bad, it just anybody who has shrine control in High Roller anyway has such a huge advantage, and it's like impossible to fight.
Mhm.
Maybe
Above
get rid
vaulting.
of shrines in HR then.
Maybe.
Outright.
I think speedrun is the worst. I think speedrun is the problematic one. I think protection you can play around, power you can play around, health is good. I think a clarity shrine would be cool, a luck shrine would be cool. I think
Mhm.
Yeah,
resources
speed
from
shrine-
shrines. Speed shrine
yeah.
is like an auto win.
Speed shrine on a barb or a rogue with a bard
Mhm.
is not okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
That's true.
Mhm.
That's true.
so in normals is fine because like you're playing against like more average players and like they don't know how to utilize it 100% to its most effectiveness. But in High Roller, when you have these sweaty dorks who know how to just hug the shrine rooms and use it to the max, they will just run you over with speed
Right.
shrine. Miserable. But that's just my shrine rant for the evening.
I like the since we're on the topic of the bards and speed in general, they mentioned that they want to kind of slow down the gameplay and rework bard. I feel like that's a good change. If we remove Accelerando and sort of like the bard speed buffs in general, I think it would, like, everyone else is not suffering, but they're making all of the haste and all the movement speed like slower and shrinking it down a little bit to kind of slow down the overall gameplay loop. And so if we probably, if I had to guess what the bard rework is, I think they get rid of speed. Like a perpetual speed, I feel like is not good for this game. Like
I
having
don't
your,
hate
your
that.
1 to 5 use, like a haste or like a barbarian shout or a fighter sprint, all of those things are very limited, and you use them to outplay or to outrun. And I think we should go back to that.
I think the way they're going to change bard is spell capacity and knowledge is going to come into play now. 10
Okay.
song bard is not going to be the standard anymore unless you have really, really good gear. I think you're going to see 5 song bards become normalized, especially with people with like average gear or less. We're going to see a lot more silence, that silence ability. Crescendo, I think, is the instant cast. The next song is instantly played or something like that.
Crescendo, okay.
Yeah, Dissonance is the silence, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see more bards running that, in my opinion. And I think there is... I've played 5-song bard with the silence before on Ruins Duo. Pretty fucking good. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
What's the cooldown on it? Soma.
Oh, like 25 seconds or 30.
Oh, that's not that bad. I thought it was more than that for some reason.
It's not bad. Yeah, the only thing that sucks, I learned this the hard way. If you want to use the silence ability, you have to have an instrument out. And I would like run in, like have my rapier out, and I'd be smashing that hotkey. I'm like, why the fuck are you silent? Like, you must take your drum out first. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, that's good enough. Yeah, so that got me killed before, but lesson learned. But yeah, I think that's going to be how they change it. I think having to sit down to use the clarity song and the rested health song is a good change. I think that's how it should have been the entire time. So to me, that was normalizing the bard, not nerfing it. I like Accelerando, especially with War Song. You keep playing that, keep everyone sped up, and everyone always has some weapon damage with the War Song perk, which is great. I don't think they're going to remove any songs or even change the songs that much. I think they're going to murder 10-song bard. That's what I think.
It seems like they're in that direction. I've been saying like
10-song bard's too good. It's too good.
I'm cool with 5-spell bard as long as they give them some more other skill abilities to use instead of like Dissonance and Crescendo obviously are good, but give them more options before you like force them into 5-spell, because I feel like if they do it too soon without having any other options, it's gonna feel bad for a long period of time for those players. But yeah, so what about you, Arcane? You're the bard player in the chat. How do you feel about the nerfs?
I've kind of taken a little break. Soma took up the...
I've been playing a lot of bard. Yeah.
Took up the mantle and ran with it. Yeah, Soma's been playing tons of bard, and I've just started my 3rd cleric today for grins. But yeah, so I think all of the changes are good. Uberkiss is in the chat, and he just said sitting to use Tranquility is basically forcing a cleric into every competitive comp at this point, which I don't know. I don't claim to be a HR leaderboard expert. I don't know if that's totally the case. He would certainly know, but I'd be curious to hear your take on that, Ken.
I think Tranquility is the one thing they messed up on. I think sitting for clarity makes perfect sense. I think Accelerando nerfs makes perfect sense. I think the silence changes make perfect sense. But I think Tranquility wasn't egregious or like the strongest ability in the kit at all. I think nerfing that into the ground. I say into the ground, but it's not worth taking.
What if you make it hybrid and say that if you play that song while you're standing, it heals for X per second, but if you play it but if you play it while sitting, and that's the other thing. I think the bard, while they're seated, while they're resting, they should be able to play. Like I think that would just it would look cool. It would solve several other problems and mechanics, I think, for their various songs. That one in particular, though. So if you're seated and playing Tranquility, you get 2x the benefits, and you could do that for a lot of different songs, and then kind of balance out the other ones while you're moving.
I will say there is, the bard got nerfed a bit. I still think it's incredibly strong. If you pair up a Warlock with a bard, you don't have to worry about Clarity Song. You don't have to worry about Tranquility. You don't even have to run those songs. You can run other buff songs, and you can just follow the Warlock and just keep them sped up. Keep them sped up with Allegro, Accelerando, the Rousing Rhythm song. Keep yourself buffed with your speed and attack speed songs, and just chase them around and weaken everything with the flute. You don't have to worry about sitting ever. And it is fucking powerful.
Soma coming in trying to make Warlock sound viable.
Yeah, true.
It is. I was my buddy Flo. He plays Ranger. He's number 3 on Goblin Caves, I think, high roller for Rangers, and he plays Warlock, and he's very good. His aim's very good with Curse of Pain, which you have to have cracked aim with that stupid spell.
Yeah, that spell sucks. I mean, the projectile on it is very, very wonky.
Yeah, it's very shit. But if you can land it, if you're good with it, it's very terrifying. and he'll run, you know, like all magic healing, all magic power, magic damage. So his Curse of Pain will hit for 30 and then tick for another, you know, 10 or whatever. So I'll just speed him up, chase him fully buffed, not having to worry about sitting ever. Unless I take some damage, then I'll just bring pots. But I'll just chase him around, and when his spellcasting speed is juiced up from Allegro, he's destroying any frontliners with like 4 Curse of Pains while just kiting backwards, and they can't ever catch him. It's really fucking gross. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's quite fun.
I play a good amount of Warlock too, and that does sound really, really fun. All of my Warlock games I've played, I don't think I've really played them with a Bard, but the movement speed on it sounds kind of toxic now that I think about it.
Yeah,
that sounds strong.
then your third is Ranger, and you have traps, and when fighters and barbarians bust in, they just get hellfired when they're trapped, and then they're dead anyway. So
we were playing
very, very good comp.
That's an unconventional comp, and I feel like it would be
It's
very,
good.
very strong.
Ranger, Warlock, Bard. And you can also, if you are a noob, if you and your friends are noobs, and you can rat and survive through High Roller and go to hell, the Warlock, Bard, and Ranger can
PV machine.
make mincemeat out of the High Roller Lich. Don't even get me started on Norm Lich. You can just do that solo as a Warlock easily. But with Ranger, Warlock, Bard, if you're afraid of High Roller, if you're afraid to do bossing, if you're an average player, just try that comp, rat to survive to hell in High Roller, avoid the teams of Rogues and Rangers, avoid Jay Griffia, avoid Ken, go down to hell and kill the Lich. It's super easy. Just don't kill yourself or die to your buddy's Hellfire, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I've killed a couple friends on Lich with Hellfire before. No, it was their fault. It was their fault.
It's always their fault.
It's always their
It's
fault.
so slow. It's their fault.
How do you get hit by that thing, dude?
Yeah.
So
I
I
will
think we
say
brought
with the
this
Warlock
up.
changes coming. Sorry,
Go ahead.
one
You're
last
right
one
on.
quick comment.
You read my mind. We think that.
Perfect.
I
that
think we brought it
Warlock
up.
is going to be boosted, man. With all these other nerfs coming in, like if I had to guess, I think we do Bard rework. We get a little Ranger nerf and a little Rogue nerf, and then Warlock's going to come out there, and everyone's going to be Warlock. I'm an ex-Warlock main, so the idea of
same. I love
of
it.
the dark magic coming out and more perks, like that thing's already really powerful. It's just not quite there yet.
Right.
But
It doesn't need much. It doesn't.
They're
going to
give it a lot. I think we're getting like 4 more perks and like a whole ass school of magic, and we are going to be. I mean, even the blood magic, we can't. There's not even 5 spells, so you know that it won't take much.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do. I think Warlock is going to be. I mean, it's fucking really powerful right now. If you can solo the boss as an average player with Warlock and get rich like that, or you can solo the cave troll in 30 seconds. Just imagine when this thing has its full kit and more spells, and it's going to be super cool.
They're going to have to nerf magical healing, though. I think Kist is in the chat.
I think it's
saying
actually
the same
in a
thing.
good spot.
Really?
I
really
disagree.
It's expensive to run that set, and
it's
you
expensive,
can still get devastated.
And you can still get dumpstered. Exactly.
Because it's only good at mid-range.
You're dead.
If any class is on top of you, you're probably dead. And all the classes at range, like Wizard and Ranger, just range you.
I had a very broken feeling fight a couple days ago. I was playing Warlock with like a +12, +15 healing set, like a pretty good set. Not crazy, but we were playing against like a juiced Wizard Bard team that I was just going face to face with the Wizard, hitting him with curses. The Bard was tranking him up and giving him clarity, and the Wizard was just zapping me, like hitting me every time, just spam zapping me, and I'm just out healing him, and his Bard's tranking him and clarity him, and I get hit with like unexaggerated probably 11 to 15 zaps, and I'm just out healing him. Hit me with a direct fireball, didn't one-shot me, heal up instantly. Eventually, like I got flanked by Rogue and died. Like everybody dies, but I was like, this feels a little too much. A little too much. I think they can tone it down a little bit.
Just cap it at +8 or something like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I think that's what Kist is saying. He's like, every per tick thing in the game so far has been nerfed. It would be like the only thing per tick to not be nerfed.
That means I don't want them nerfed because it's a lot of fun, but
it is fun.
I feel like right now in the state of the Warlock, like they're really going out of their way to get all those, and you're probably just going to die. Like I want to say that Warlock is probably one of the most killed classes in the game right now.
Right now, I agree. Yeah. I am the least scared of running into that class when in any situation, 1v1, 1v2, 1v3. If I see a Warlock on that team, it's like, okay, we can win this fight.
Yeah.
Well, the issue is that a lot of warlocks think they can just run in like they're a rogue or a barbarian or something. They're playing the class wrong, in my opinion.
100%.
You
Yep.
need to be kiting with Curse of Pain. If you
Mhm.
can land those shots, you are a fucking menace because then you're a midliner that never dies. You just heal up so fucking fast. You eat a ranger arrow or two like it's nothing, and you're full health again. It's people that get really excited and they decide to hit Phantomize and run through a barbarian and a fighter to get to the cleric in the back. Then now they have no escape, 90 health,
Yeah.
and they're a squishy blood bag. It's all about how you use the spells correctly. Phantomize is an escape. It's a I'm gonna have these mobs and this barbarian chase them down a hall, Phantomize back through them and trap that fool, and then Hellfire the mass of them, right, as they're trapped in a hallway or something.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think a good warlock that just kites with his spellbook out.
There aren't many of
That's
those.
how you should be playing. Yeah,
There
that's
aren't many out
the
there.
smart way to do it.
Yeah, when that's how I'd play it. When I play, I would just be like, I would get as much health as I can with magical healing, try to have like 120 health so you don't get one shot. And I just basically play as a frontliner, just curse as many people as you can, absorb
Kite back.
pressure. If
Yep.
they're shooting at you, they're not shooting at your team, which means your
Right.
team is destroying them. And if the fight goes
Yeah.
longer than 30 seconds, you won. Because
Yeah, you out-sustain.
exactly.
Yeah.
The
Have
cleric's
you
out of
guys?
spells.
Exactly. Yep. And there's no bard keeping them up anymore. It's not like everyone's like, time out, let me sit. No, that's done. That's not gonna happen. What do you guys think about the quarterstaff change? 100% damage no matter where you hit with it?
I think it's a good change.
Dude,
Good change.
oh my god, I've been playing quarterstaff barbarian. Oh, it's so fucking
loving it?
good. It's so good.
I've
It's
got
so
one for you.
strong.
Remind me after this game. I got a +2 all attributes quarterstaff I can give you.
Ooh, legacy.
Oh yes, gladly take it. But yeah, all I want to do is play quarterstaff barb. I'm addicted to it because you move pretty fast. It's only -30. The attack speed is good. Yeah, I missed those days. Right?
So good, so good.
That was insane. But yeah, -30 is not bad. If you have a bard with you, then it's really fucking stupid. But the attack speed's fast, and as you're swinging it, like like if you're using a sword, you want the tip of the sword to hit the person's head or body
You
for
just
the
don't
full
care.
damage,
You
right?
just get in tight now.
With quarterstaff, you just get in there and you jump into them and you keep smacking them in the fucking chest and the head, and they're hitting you in the legs and the stomach. And you just keep jumping and because the attacks are low, right? So the first is a head bonk, then it's like a low swipe to the left, right, left. If you just jump into them, you're hitting them in the head with the swipes, and they're just hitting you. You look like a crazy, I don't know, frog barb hopping in someone's face.
So with that
smacking them with a
build,
stick.
would you still take Achilles strike on Francisca, or what's your play?
You don't
Is
even
that-
need
is
it.
that off the
You're so
table?
fast. I honestly, I think if you're gonna do hell and you're trying to get through hell quickly and efficiently, you got to run Savage Roar because you can just dumpster anything in hell with Savage Roar very quickly if your teammates are decent with damage output. But you can, you can Savage Roar. That's the fear, yeah. And it's also just too good for PvP because it's -25% damage for 8 seconds on anyone that you hit with it as well. So when you run in, so you hit that and you hit Rage, which honestly, I don't even know if you have to take Rage. It is good to have the speed boost for a few seconds, but you lose -20% of your defenses when you use Rage for 15 strength. Like I think it's good, but I think there's better shit you can be using than Rage. You could use Achilles Strike with Savage Roar. You can use Reckless Attack, but that also subtracts your armor. But there's, what are the other abilities? There's some good. Let me pull up the.
There's some good ones. Last time I was playing around with the one where you sacrifice some of your health to gain +4 all, and then I had morale boost. So if I actually killed somebody, I would just gain all the health back that I lost. And so at that point, I'm just getting +4 in all stats basically every fight. And then I was using Rage. I didn't use Quarterstaff, so I ran into a couple of issues. But I do feel like Quarterstaff might be one of the best in slots for Barb now. Especially hearing you talk about it, you could take no chest armor and the bonus damage on that, then you're kind of fast. Obviously, you'll always have a range problem against, like, let's say, Rangers and Wizards, but I think it's good that most classes right now feel like they have 2 counters. Yeah, like two class counters. It was cool earlier.
Yeah,
I had a rogue in chat complaining about Wizards and Rangers, and I was like, yes, suffer.
You could take Life Siphon, which gives you the +4 all for 8 seconds speed, take 3 damage per second, and then you could take Berserker, which increases your attack power as you are damaged.
Mhm.
That could be extremely good.
Yeah, I saw a guy die to life siphon it. Yeah, the other day I was like, "What the hell is life siphon? What is that? Is that
He
like
died
a,
to
is
his
that a
own?
unique
Oh,
weapon?
man.
What do I not know about this?"
Yeah,
No
dying to
idea
his
what it
own
was.
life siphon, that feels bad.
I haven't heard
See,
that one before. That's good.
that would make me dumpster and throw that skill out forever if I died to it.
You gotta use it
That'd be
early.
terrible.
That way it wears
Exactly.
off.
But Warcry could be good too. I mean, you want to run. So I run Crush. I run Iron Will for the magic res. I run Carnage for the +10 strength after you kill something. But honestly, you could get rid of Carnage, throw in Berserker, get rid of Rage, run Life Siphon, and just destroy people.
And
I don't
that's
know.
the
I
beauty
think Barb
of
is really good.
Don't
Yeah.
take Axe Mastery, so you could actually use another perk. It's actually like one of the hidden
Yeah.
things about it.
Yeah.
Also, it was a good nerf, even just talking about it, because it was meta. Like, without a doubt, every barbarian had Achilles Strike pretty much universally. The damage was way too much.
It was
and
broken.
the damage per step was outrageous.
Yeah.
Especially when we had drums. Oh my god.
It was basically a stun. It was basically
Yeah,
a
it's
stun.
a stun. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm glad that we're having the barbarian discussion, because it proved that was meta, and now we can diversify again. And probably that's what will happen with Bard, like we mentioned. All right, to the Wizards for our main man.
To the Wizards.
To the
How bad's it
Wizards.
feel,
talking
Ken?
How
about
many
nerfs?
more nerfs can you get?
Oh no, it's fine. It's just I'm of the opinion that these were the wrong nerfs. This doesn't solve any problems. It's just like, all right, here's a nerf. Deal with it. They're trying to nerf the buff ball comp in competitive, like high roller, by lowering the duration, haste, and invis. They've literally have done this before at the beginning of playtest 5. They literally made invis 3 seconds, and they literally
Yep,
made
reversed
haste
it.
6 seconds. And do
Mhm.
you know what the best team comp that playtest was? It was still buff ball. So
Yep.
that's why I'm like a little frustrated. I'm like, you guys understand we've been in this timeline before.
Right.
This has already happened. It does. This isn't the solution.
Yeah.
There's an obvious solution that everyone's been saying.
Self-cast.
Just make self-cast only. So that's
Yep.
all you gotta do. Self-cast only, and it would be fine.
Yep.
That's fine. That's just my rant.
I haven't heard that before. I like that
I
idea.
think you're spot on. Yeah.
Self-cast only for invis. That's actually a superb idea.
And haste, I think.
I don't know about haste. Like, if they don't have invis, haste becomes way less worrisome. It's still strong, but like it's mostly
I
getting
agree.
inside.
It's definitely
Yeah.
invis, but I think haste is like another. All right, so for a different reason, I think there's a problem with the haste animation. When there is more than one haste in a room, you lose frames. Does
Yeah.
anybody else have this issue where if there's 2 or
yeah,
3
I have
hastes in
that.
one
Well
fight,
done.
you get
Mhm.
fucking 20 frames?
Yeah.
It's miserable.
Speaking
They
of
have, like,
that,
little
are
smoke
any of
bomb.
you guys? I'm curious if any of you guys are losing frames in the crypts in one specific room, the prison room. Yeah,
Prison. Yep.
I'm losing frames
Yep.
like
Prison.
crazy there. Yep.
I'm like every time I see I hear people in prison, I'm like, but I don't really want to fight in
I
there.
don't
I'm
wanna
gonna
go,
wait.
right.
I'm gonna wait till they
Right.
leave.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is because it's not like a super complex room. It's just a couple of cells with some zombies
Right.
in it. And I have
Yep.
no idea. Has to be some
Yeah,
kind of memory.
it doesn't seem to matter how many PvE, PvP are in there either. It's just that room.
Yeah, they gotta fix it because it hasn't been like that. That's been a room since playtest 1. And
I
it
know.
hasn't been this way. It's a new
Exactly.
thing. I have no idea
Yep.
why.
Be
But yeah,
bizarre.
miserable.
But I agree. So we talked about the Bard and potentially having varying degrees of effectiveness based on, you know, their posture. Are they standing or seated? The wizard could be treated the same way, where you make certain spells only self-cast or limited effectiveness. So if it's not being used as self-cast, it's worth half of what it normally would be, or 25%. But yeah, I think there's probably a good debate to be had on whether or not you should be able to haste others. I think Invis should probably be self-cast only. I think that solves a lot of problems. But yeah, haste is probably
Or
worth
I
the
like-
discussion.
My chat just said casting buffs on others, 50% durability loss, so it's only half the time. That's not a bad
Yeah.
suggestion.
But even so, I think it's like even with 3 seconds on invis, it is still enough for a barbarian to get in on a team.
Round a
and
corner, yeah.
Big time.
I always come back to the argument of it's a feel bad moment. Just want to remove these feel bad moments from the game. Nobody wants to have a 200 HP barb suddenly appear in the middle of your team and just auto win a fight. It's not good for anybody. No one likes it. Now, people don't even like playing it. The teams that are running the comp, like they're not having fun either. It's just It's not. There's free wins, and people want good fights. Like the top players who are grinding leaderboards, they want fun, interactive fights with other good teams. And Haste and Visiting Barbarians kind of isn't that.
Yep.
That's just my take. And also the Bard nerfs were like an indirect nerf to Wizards. The Song of Clarity nerfs definitely hit Wizards hard. I think it was necessary though. I think Wizards was running through the dungeon. I was for once in my life, I was able to kill mobs and not sit down. And I'm not gonna lie, it felt great. It felt great, but I understand why they nerfed it, and now we're back to sitting down again.
Yep.
But
Soma, did you do
on
any
the-
wizard testing
Oh, yeah.
since the nerf? I know
Me?
you don't play. Yeah, I know you don't play wizard
Oh,
very
dude.
often at all. But
I,
did you test it?
know, I didn't even get a kill with my wizard until I was level 9 with it. Like, that's how bad I am. Like, I don't know what it is. I just cannot connect with that
well,
class.
now that you've played Bard
Yeah.
for a while, you may want to give it another shot. You may find that it's a lot.
I tried.
more
I never once. The only thing, I never played wizard with any gear. I never once actually had real magic power, magic damage gear, or even
You don't
a
need
spell
that
book, really,
much.
on my
You
wizard.
just need what,
Yeah,
like
watch
3 or
80.
4 knowledge. You need like 3 or 4 knowledge to feel halfway decent with a wizard. I think like you could run white gear
I just
and feel okay. Not good, but you'll feel
I
okay.
had some white gear. I would zap someone 5 times, they wouldn't die, and I would just get run down. And I'm like, all right, I can't do this. I also just don't enjoy having to rest and sit a lot. I don't like that the wizard is even squishier than the rogue. Just like one hit from a skeleton, the 70% of your health is gone. So I don't know.
Preaching to the choir,
It's just-
man.
It's just not for me. It's not for
R-
me.
Ryan,
I
6
like
days a week's
Bard, I
calling
like
you
Bard.
out. He's calling you a liar. He said that you killed someone at level 1. It just happened to be him
Oh yeah, it was
as,
both of
as
us.
a
one
teammate. Yeah,
fireball.
he killed both of you.
2
yeah.
guys, 1 ball. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, dude.
Sorry about that, Ryan. Ryan's
I
such a sweet
wonder-
guy. He didn't deserve that death.
Yeah, Ryan's amazing. I wonder if Wizards have more kills on teammates than anyone else, just from all the newer players and like those trying to learn and trying to start with
I
that
want to see
class.
the stats. Show me
Like
the
if you
stats.
include self kills and team kills, I would love to see the stats.
Oh yeah.
Dude, anyone using a falchion is a menace to their own team.
Oh yeah, I refuse. I refuse to play with bards to use falchions. No offense. I'm like, if you're for the rapier, so much better.
Rapier is
the
way better.
falchions,
Yeah,
so many casualties.
exactly. Yeah, it's just
But-
not worth the friendly fire. But yeah,
Yeah.
rapier with full buffs on, the alacrity song on, with a good rapier with the rapier mastery, you are attacking faster than a juice rogue. It's insane.
Mhm.
It's very, very, very good. But I don't know. You have to have 8 songs on you. You have to have a full soundtrack fucking playing, and you have to fit into that nice little 90-second window with all the buffs on. Not even that.
Bard can't
It's like
play
a
it toxic.
6-second because of Allegro. You have to get that perfect window. And you also have to get in there and fucking play your damn flute song to weaken them, because that thing is a must in a fight.
Yep.
Very strong.
100%.
Yeah, it's so good. There's
I
a
feel like
lot to do with Bard.
Fire spell Bard would be so much easier for people to play too. Like 10 spell Bard is very overwhelming. I leveled a Bard last week, and I was like, this kind of sucks.
Okay, so if you played 5-song Bard, what would be the 5 songs? If you're gonna play with a couple buddies, you're gonna go into crypts. What are your songs?
Harmonic
Rousing
Shield,
Rhythms.
Accelerando, Rounding Rhythms, Shriek, or the
Yep.
debuff, and maybe Shriek.
Weakness. Shriek awake. Yeah,
Yeah.
weakness. Yeah.
That'd be my 5 at least.
Yep. Exact same
Hmm.
And then
for me.
then
Yep.
dissonance, to silence people.
Dissonance. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't need encore. Dissonance for sure.
What does
I would
Encore do?
say Allegro is really good though. I would get rid of Accelerando. I would actually go beats of let's see, actually. Rousing Rhythms for the stats for
Yep.
sure. Allegro is the spell casting speed, action speed. That I think is better than Accelerando. So I would run that instead. Definitely Piercing Shriek of Weakness to weaken
Yep.
everyone. And
3.
then
You got 2 left. You got the shield, harmonic shield you need.
Harmonic Shield, you gotta have that one. That's like what, 16% damage reduction across the board.
Good.
So you gotta
Really good.
have Harmonic Shield. That's 1.
And then do you
Streak
take
of
the
Weakness
attack
is
buff?
2.
Or are you taking something else? I can't remember what the bravery, whatever the other liar song is that's a buff.
There's Alacrity. That's the one that, or that's the loot song. Sorry. A Ballad of Courage is the one that increases your physical power by 10. Yep. Is it plus 10 or plus 10%? Because the wiki says plus 10%, but it says plus 10 in game. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tranquility and Clarity songs would be a waste, but you gotta at least bring in Harmonic Shield, because that's honestly, you know what? You might be able to get rid of Harmonic Shield if you're playing with a Ranger and a Warlock. You could actually skip the damage reduction, just have the Ranger.
Shield's so good.
It is good though. It is.
I've
good,
had some bards are pushing like 60% PDR and like some good gear, which is kind of crazy. You're like getting into fighter territory at that point.
No, it is quite good.
I might be taking the unlock depending on your comp. Depending on your comp, maybe you're taking the unlock song.
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing like eco runs, like you're bringing luck and unlock and stuff like that, that makes sense. But see, that's the beauty of 5. So now all of a sudden you're like, what spells do I pick? Not just all of the spells.
All the spells, yeah, exactly.
Right.
No, I really hope that's how they change Bard. Nerf Bard by making 5-song Bard normal. I think
but still keep 10 spell Bard as an option, I think, with like knowledge and stuff and spell capacity.
Exactly right. Yeah. So you're gonna see most bards running 5-song unless they're god kitted, or not even god kitted, just healthy spell capacity and healthy knowledge. Then you can get your 10 songs. But even then, they need to make sure they need to relook at the tiers of songs as well. Like some should be more expensive with spell capacity than others than they currently are. So
what
even if you do have.
Sorry, Uberkiss is asking about peacemaking. How do you feel about that one?
I think
it depends on the comp. It depends on the comp. If you have a wizard with you, then yes, use it. But at the same time, if you run in and you fuck up the peacemaking, or they have a wizard or a ranger in the back line, then you're just free meat, just standing in the middle of a room, fucking dicking around with your loot.
Yeah, this is how we've been dealing with the buff ball teams and high rollers. Our bard was running peacemaking. We would hear them buff ball in, or even if we didn't hear them, we would just spam it because we don't know where they are, and like the barbarian would show up in our face and just be like, with a fucking axe in the air, and just we have 7 seconds to deal with it, and it was actually really good. It's a good counter push strategy. Underutilized spell because everyone's using silence, but since they nerfed it now, I think we're gonna see a lot more peacemaking.
Yeah,
very underutilized ability. But it only really works if you have a wizard on your team or a warlock, I guess. But if you're playing with other attackers or meleeers, you kind of hurt your own team more than the other team, which kind of sucks. But I like that. I like that it's like it's a dual-edged blade, and I like that's how they change silence as well, which is very smart.
No, Soma, sorry, I interrupted your flow there. So you were thinking that spell points should be a thing like they are for wizard and cleric, right? For bard songs, like they need to start assigning tiers and spell points to make that viable. I think when they introduce, I know we've talked a lot about skills, and you guys on the Darkest Hour last night had some really good conversations about future content and how skill tree will work. I think bard is going to be one of the most important parts, and I think it would be so cool. It would actually incentivize people to build maybe multiple bard characters if you have to spec into your instrument of choice. And it takes you down as like skill tree that's pretty significant investment. And maybe they limit you and say you can, like any given bard can only have 3 total instruments. So you're going to have a max of 15 songs to choose from or whatever it is. And and getting to 10 should be a real challenge. And you got to spend a lot of spell points to get there. I dig that.
Yeah, I think having to specialize and only have up to 3 instruments, you got to pick 3 of the 4, or introduce other instruments too. But you can only have 3, and you have to just be really careful with how you choose your kit. That'd be better.
Yeah,
bagpipes.
Yeah, that's
I love bagpipes, but 5 minutes of that in the dungeon, I'm fucking all up for-ing, dude.
That sounds great. Don't give me some face paint. We'll be ready to go.
Yeah, just add a cap.
Right, so for those of us that bought the Hold the Line edition, they've been talking about PTR pretty quietly on the down low. What if, especially with future, specifically for the Hold the Line edition, what if we move some of this stuff to the public test realm and allow the HTL users to go test this stuff? Because like this has been an incredible 3 weeks for me, and honestly, since early access, the balancing changes, the sort of ups and downs, this sort of very heavy-handed nerfs. I kind of feel like we're almost to a state of balance if we just do a little bit more like we talked about earlier to Rangers and Rogues and then the rework with the Bard. I feel like before we get Druid and maybe even before we get Warlocks, because I want to say without a doubt Warlocks are about to be super OP because they're already quite strong. I think we should probably do some PTR, some public testing, before we introduce that stuff into the main game. That way we don't run into these sort of issues that the normal players get to experience. What do you guys
I
think
would be
about
in the
that?
I'd be in the PTR constantly if I had that option.
Yeah, like give
Yeah.
us gear, and then allow us to test something for like a week, and then we sort of cultivate opinions, and then they adjust it, and then we get like another PTR for a week. Also, I think it would be fun for viewers to be like, oh, what's going on in the public test realm? And X streamer, Soma's in PTR with Ken Nabi and Arcane, and they're testing like the reworked Bard. That's something I would tune into, but I might not participate in. But I don't know,
Yeah,
like
I would
PTRs
love a
would probably be a
PTR.
good thing. Yeah, because as is right now, they're doing like these huge. When they nerf something or buff something, it's
Yeah.
like it's big in one direction, and
Mhm.
it could be frustrating for the average player to come home from work, hop on, and their class is nerfed by 50%, and now you're the tester. Like, sure, it's early access, and like it's kind of what you signed up for,
Right.
but most games have a PTR realm. Like any good game that's like working on making their game better over time has PTRs, and I think it would probably be for the best, even if it's just like a small weekend like
Yep.
tests that people could do. Nothing too crazy. Just to test things out
Agreed.
before they go live. Because, like, for as an example, what if they did a PTR where they completely halved wizard damage or something like they did last week or 2 weeks ago, and they realized, oh, this is a huge mistake. We're not going to make this go live, so they wouldn't have to waste his time nerfing and then unnerfing and stuff like that. Because it's a bad look. It's a bad look when they like do a nerf and they just revert it. And if they do a PTR, all that stuff can be ironed out before it goes live, and it's a no-brainer.
Ironed out. I get it.
And,
Ironed out.
Aha.
I mean, they're
Well
a
played.
small indie studio. They just finally are probably seeing some of that money from EA dropping. I feel like something like a PTR is inevitable, but
especially
these
for the
guys
dragon.
Oh yeah, once they start introducing shit like 5-player raids,
Yeah, or
5
guild versus
people to
guild.
a team, or guild. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother fucking demon. That's way later, but yeah, they're gonna need to do some PTR type stuff for shit like that. But yeah, I trust Iron Mace. I say that less and less as I get older and I watch the video game industry fester. But this is like one of the few little studios that I actually trust. I believe in them. I think they're going to do right by us. But it's very clear that man hours and manpower is a limitation for them, and that they are just fucking with the levers and pushing buttons and turning dials and just seeing what fucking works as they scramble from hotfix to hotfix, while also trying to maintain probably a very slowly depleting player base because of the new player experience, all while fucking fighting off Nexon and trying to cater to like a massive Western audience at the same time. Yeah, I don't envy those guys at all.
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a hard gig for sure.
Speaking of PTR and Iron Mace and the industry with gaming, I think this is a good segue to talk about tournaments because our man of the hour is Soma. So we've talked about tournaments in the past, but I wanted to bring with this podcast, I wanted to sort of actually start organizing something and theorize with you a little bit about the upcoming tournament scene. So this last weekend, we just finished the first Cash Cup of early access. For those that don't know, in the prior playtest, we typically had 1 to 3 tournaments every week or 2 weeks, for one playtest cycle. And we had like 2 or 3 different established sort of organizations that were running these, including private lobbies for the Rest XP sort of $3,000 tournament. That was, a lot of Twitch personalities came out for that, including Katie and Mendo and others. Anyway, I talked to Iron Mace and they said that we could have private lobbies for tournaments as long as we were an official organization. So Soma, having worked with Twitch and dealing with tournaments, what is the mechanics behind becoming an org? Does it take a bunch of streamers? Does it take a manager? Like what are the steps, would you say, to get us into a private lobby?
When they say official org, do they mean they want an actual company to partner with? They want like a group that has an LLC that has an official list of individuals that work for it, or like what do they mean by official partnership? Do they?
I haven't dived in more than that. No, me and Grayson and some others exchanged DMs and we talked about it quite a bit. Obviously, Rested XP is sort of its own org, and they've hosted tournaments before. They had shoutcasters, but it's not that much different than the tournaments that I've hosted, where we have shoutcasters, we have transitions, like a list of people coming out. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I mean, the truth is, you can just get a group of people together and slap a name tag on it and just call yourself something official. When we were doing the Survivor Games shit, over 10 years ago, we weren't even an official company or anything like that. It was just a few people that would meet in TeamSpeak, and we had an Arma 2 DayZ server, and we had someone like build us a logo in Paint, and that we called it good. That was our org. Now, if you want to be official, form an LLC, have the founding group all be attached to it. I don't even know if you really need a fucking website. You just need a Discord server. Get some volunteers to help set shit up. Have some dedicated shoutcasters. Have someone in the group or a couple of people in the group be the sort of creator partnerships individuals that do all the reach out and figure out the tournament roster and all that stuff. You got to be organized, right? The people in the group have to work together in tandem. But it's not that difficult to do. You just kind of snap your fingers and just say, this is the group now. This is our official Discord, and you just go from there. I don't think it's as crazy as people think.
I want
Right
to
on.
so bad.
Now you're ready.
Whatever steps get us to private lobby tournaments, I'm in there. But I'm not just a huge fan of like these, no offense, kind of scuffed, weird rule sets tournaments. Like we're making the best of what we got because we don't have private lobbies. But once we have like private lobbies with like a controlled environment where the tournaments are like extremely fair and balanced, it's gonna be the game's so fun to watch. It would be so good for this game. This game would blow up if we just had like a regular tournament schedule.
No, I am super down. I would love to do this with you guys. What do you think are a good rule set? Like, what should be the gold standard? I think a point system works, but everyone has pros and cons attached to every which way you can figure out a tournament, right? People love certain tournament styles, hate others, and everyone has their own opinion on it. I think a point system makes sense. Like a 6-hour tournament, you have multiple teams of 3, and one escape is a point, or a kill is 3 points, a boss kill is 5 points, and then you just tally up all the points at the end, and whatever team has the most points wins. Do you think it should be every team gets 3 lives, and whatever team is alive at the end of the however many hours long tournament is the winner? What do you guys think is the right approach?
I think you could do a bunch of different. Like that's the beauty of Dark and Dark. Yeah, you can do so many different things. Like a point system sounds great. I think if you do a point system where an extract X amount of points, boss kills, like you said, kills, veteran adventurer points, like anything like that sounds cool. I think you can also do any kind of last man standing tournament where you just have X amount number 64, like a 64 team bracket. You go into a 16-man lobby, however many teams that is. Math's hard. I'm not doing that right now. Then last team standing moves on to the next round, and then you just have a tournament bracket like that. You can do a duo tournament. You can do solo tournaments.
Yeah, that one's one of the most fairs. If we do a bracket, like let's say we put 4 teams on each map, and we have 16 teams total, and only the top 2 of each like bracket moves forward, and at the end we end up with 4. We go like 16, 8, 4, 2, and then it resets per bracket. But they can go kill the boss in their own bracket. Like let's say it's 5 matches, they can kill the bosses 5 times. They can sort of stack a little bit of loot, but then it resets for the next bracket, so everyone's back to base. Level 1 base gear.
You could do no gear.
Do it all again.
You do no gear. You could do gear. You could do different rule sets for every tournament. That's the beauty of Dark and Darker. You could do different rule sets. Yeah. We have the 0 to hero tournament. We have the
permadeath. We have
the juice tournament where you can like make your sets before the lobby. You come with some biz stuff just to see.
That would be so cool to see if everyone had artifacts and like you had to choose your class based on what artifacts you felt like using.
That could be fun.
Or like everybody gets 12 artifacts and like you just go from there. There could be a lot.
I think having everyone start at level 1 with just base kits, throwing them in a private lobby, and having a point system with a certain amount of time, like 6 to 7, maybe 8 hours. You know, it's going to, okay, today is tournament day. It's going to be a long 8-hour day or something like that, right? And everyone starts at level 1. You can't have duplicates on a team, so no like 3 rangers or 2 rogues or anything like that.
Right.
And then it would be kills are 1 point, bosses are 3 points, and you don't get any points if you don't extract. So extractions aren't even a point. You have to get out if you want your points, and you could keep it very, very simple like that.
Yeah.
Everyone starts level 1. Everyone has no gear. Everyone's going to be playing against each other in private lobbies. You kill a player, you get a point. You kill a boss, you get 3 points. You only get points if you extract. Bam.
I like
Could be
that,
super easy.
especially if
Simple.
we get a
I
certain
like it.
amount of streamers. That way you mix it up. You mix up, like, you have enough people to fill 3 lobbies, and you always have to queue drop at the same time. That way you're mixing everybody together, those who have gear, those who don't have gear. Maybe you get an all naked lobby and they're trying to boss, and it just goes back and forth for 6 or 8 hours. That way gear is constantly being churned and sent between all the different teams. That could be a really, really good way.
Now,
There's
here's the
so many ways you
question,
can do
though. Yeah, what about if you have shoutcasters watching one particular lobby? What about lobbies that aren't being monitored? Do you have volunteers that are in the lobby that are spectating? Like, how does that work? Like, how are you guys handling spectation?
Yeah, right now we have basically one admin from each streamer would come in and be like, they're in a fight, and then we would just hot swap to that perspective. We would have like 16 streams open and be like, oh, SPS is in a fight, so now we swap over. The casters are shoutcasting that via spectating. It depends on the tournament format. Like with right now you have to bring somebody into their lobby and then die in order to full spectate the whole match. But
A
if we had
spectator mode
spectator
would be
tools,
so amazing.
yeah, that would make it very, very easy. I
Yeah.
really want to do another 1v1 tournament. It's been forever, since last December, but that one was great because everyone can play. It's solos. We had 256 people, and it's best of 3. You split at spawn and go opposite directions for a minute, and then the last player alive wins. Whether you kill each other, whether you have to dodge squads, whether you go to Inferno, whatever the case is, if you're alive and the other player isn't, you just won that round.
Yeah, but
And
you
then
wouldn't have to do
best
that
of 3.
with private lobbies. You could just have a solo tournament.
Oh, true. That's very true.
I would love just a 16-player solo lobby. Everyone.
Honestly, in Goblin would be nuts.
Even Goblin, yeah. I even think about Goblin.
Crypts, actually 16.
I would do Crypts
Do they even
personally.
have
Well,
16
six
spawns in
teams of
Crypt?
3. Wouldn't it be 6 teams of 3, 18 in the crypts?
You could, but I'm saying if you had a
Okay,
solo
yeah,
player,
I like doing it
spectator
solo.
too.
Yeah.
I feel like you
that's
just do multiple brackets in Goblin, because 9 in Goblin is a lot, especially if they're good players. Like the transitions and the moving, like the early fights, the later fights would be a lot, really, really interesting. Not even HR, just norms.
Yeah, you can do so many things. The game's so
You
fun
could
to
do a
watch.
lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Duos, solos, trios, especially
get
when
real
Good vs.
creative with
Guild
it.
comes out, we could do anything. 6v6s, 9v9s.
All right, we need to slip into SDF's DMs and ask for spectator tools, and they need to put this
Yeah.
on top of the prio chart.
Well, I mean, they already got them because when you die, you can just spectate all the teams. Like the
it's
tools are there.
It's there. It's
yeah,
there.
you just,
Yeah,
it's got to
yeah.
make it so you can queue in as a spectator.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, that's gonna be fun.
Like I said, I watch a lot of games, like a lot of esports and stuff, and like sometimes when I'm not even streaming, I'll just log into a normal lobby with my breakfast in the morning. I'll just like watch some teammates
Same.
run around the dungeon and just enjoy it. And with the spectator tool, it's
I
fun to
started
watch.
doing that actually in HR. Funny story. You were in my match, Nate, and you guys pushed my. I was doing solo HR
Demoted you.
rogue, just trying to rat. I was dead within like 12 seconds. I killed 1 bat, and then you guys had bard buffs, wizard buffs. You were on me. I was dead. And I was like, okay, well, I kind of hate it here, but let's see how this plays out. And they were in all purples and legendaries, and then there was another 3-man, all rangers, and they all had legendary crossbows. It was like 6 windlasses and spears. And then
That's
there was
nice.
another 3-man that was also stacked. And so it was insane. At the end, everybody was jungle gym room with all the mining on the ground floor and the spikes, and everyone died. All 9 of those players died, and 1 naked rogue killed the final ranger and then was just looting. There was 9 dead high roller players, all legos, and you have 1 naked rogue who just killed one of the rangers and was like, look at all this loot.
Average experience.
That dude was zooted. There was I can't even imagine the hundreds of thousands of gold lost to the swarm that round. I've never seen so much juice. There was ruby
but
silver,
those moments. Imagine
Jesus.
a moment like that in a tournament setting, like with like
Yeah.
shoutcasters
Oh, it
and
was
people
hype.
watching. Yeah, it would be great.
I was shoutcasting the whole thing. I was like, all right, the 3 rangers are set up. Like the other squad doesn't know they're here. It was so fun. Honestly, dying sucked that early though, but that's just the game right now.
I'm sorry, I was an easy +1 though. Sorry.
Nah, it's. I mean, it was +0 because you died. So.
I know. Yeah, I got stuck in a trap.
And then just going on with tournaments, I've talked to a lot of people, obviously people here in this call and elsewhere that are interested in the tournament series. And One True King said they would be interested, so we can get Soda Poppin or some of those guys, so we could bring like a little bit of prestige to it. Like you mentioned, get 16 to 64 players with multiple brackets.
Yeah, if we can
and
get some kind of Twitch
a little
Rivals
prize
event.
pool for like $1,000. Yeah, how does Twitch Rivals work, Summa? Is that once you're established?
That's a product.
already...
That's a product, man. Like brands are spending a bunch of money to activate that. I mean, if you have $100,000, sure, let's go talk to them.
I see. So it's like Taco Bell sponsored.
This Twitch Rivals is brought to you by Home Depot.
Gotcha.
Brand product. Yeah.
Or it's by SBS.
Or it's a game studio that's spending the money too. But I don't even think it's a good way to spend marketing money.
Probably not. It'd be a good way for Iron Mace to reward us, but I think that's once they go to mobile and once they go to consoles and they've sold like 4 million copies, then we're going to be in a good spot for something.
Yeah,
like
spending money on a Twitch Rivals sort of thing is dumb when you could just have free community marketing.
Right.
Just
I'm going to do it, dude. I'm going to build this tournament up. Like, I don't care what it costs. We'll get there.
Don't say that. Don't say that. I remember Survivor games. We were losing money every month doing it, and then everyone hates you. If you make one mistake, the whole community thinks you suck.
I mean, that's like anyway.
But
remember the big
when you're the only one of something. When you're the only one of something and you fuck up, the community will roast you bad.
Yeah. When I said Dark and Darker was coming out and I missed the day by like a month, oh man, there was torches everywhere.
I remember.
There was goddamn torches.
I drank the Kool-Aid, dude.
Yeah, it was good Kool-Aid, to be honest.
Okay, is it this is gonna sound crazy, but do you guys at all, even just a little bit, miss that moment in time where we were waiting for the game and it was just a big hype train and we were all just kind of guessing when it would come out and hoping the game would come out? Does anyone miss it, or do you guys just don't care?
I do, but not the month after that. Like when we were actually guessing and everybody was Kool-Aid drinking, it was really cool. But then there was like a long silence, and we were like, "Oh!" Like it was Derp Wigglies. We were like, "Oh, what's going on with the case?" Everybody was lawyers all of a sudden. That part, not so much.
Yeah.
Digging
what is
Derp?
Sorry,
I think it's chilling.
What? Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask if any of you guys have been keeping up with what's going on in Korea. I haven't seen anything. Like I know Derp is streaming the game and keeping active, but I haven't seen a lot in terms of court updates from Korea, and I know they're much harder to get than what we were getting here in the States on Pacer. Any of you guys heard anything at all? Because like we're about that time, right? Like mid-September, I think, was supposed to be another checkpoint in the Korean case.
After Iron Mace lost in the US and then they released the game, Iron Mace gave up. No shot. Excuse me, Nexon gave up. Yeah, when they lost in the US. And then now that the game's out and it's popular as hell, they just signed the deal with mobile for like probably 100 million coming to consoles, probably coming back to Steam. I bet Nexon is like, we're fucked.
Speaking of Steam, well, I don't think they're giving up. No, I mean, the Korean case is still going as far as I know. But speaking of Steam, when do we think it's coming back? Do we think at this point they'll just wait for full production release?
I think that's like next month. Honestly, full production release. I feel like we're pretty much there. If we get balanced,
it's December.
They drop questing and they drop Druid, and they're like, "Welcome to Dark and Darker. We are launched. Here's Steam release. Next February, we're gonna have console release. Next March, we have phone game release." Like, how much more does it need? Like, it's pretty much a complete game, isn't it?
That's the optimist so bad.
Yeah, you're ahead of it.
How much more does it need?
Making games is kind of hard, Sobi.
It's got 6 maps, 8 or 9 classes, a bunch of bosses. Like, this shit is gold.
I think they're waiting for the legal stuff to be over with. I think they're kind of treating this right now as almost like a beta, and they're really waiting for the big Steam release to roll out whatever marketing they have. I think Steam's gonna be like the big boom moment for this game. I think they're doing lots of balancing. Like we have like 11 hotfixes in the past 2 weeks or past month or whatever. Yeah, they're really using this time to kind of figure things out at our expense, but that's fine. I'll help you out. But yeah, they're really winding up for a Steam release, in my opinion. Whenever that may be.
Yeah, I think it's going to be early next year, Steam. And I think they really need to figure out the new player experience before they launch on Steam, which is something they said in the developer comments they're working on. They have to figure that out. Look, I'm an above average player. So bad, you're excellent. Ken, you're a top player. Arcane, you're a fucking solid player. We're all good here, right? Like we know what to do in the game. When they open up the floodgates on Steam and a bunch of fucking noobs and little Timmies come waltzing into the crypts, if there is not a good new player experience for them and they get dumpstered multiple times in the first few hours they're playing, they are going to fucking refund that game and just move on to the next thing.
We need PvE. We need a Tarkov style, no other players. I just drop it in the map. Whatever I get does not come back out with me. You go practice bossing and crypts and goblins by your goddamn self or with your party. That hurts nobody.
I disagree. I think
that hurts nobody.
I think having a PvE only mode is it's actually kind of, it tricks the player into a false sense of security. Because when you're bowling and you have bumpers on and you're just fucking chucking that ball down the fucking alley all day long and you're always getting at least one pin, feels pretty good. And then you go into big boy mode and you take those gutters off and suddenly you start hitting gutters and getting 0 pins and you're like, oh, this is the real game? This is fucking hard. I wish I would have been practicing this the entire time instead of bumper bowling. It's going to fucking piss people off.
So you guys had a good take last night.
The new players.
You guys had a good take. I think I can't remember if it was you or someone else that recommended it, but I like the idea that from levels 1 to 10 or 15,
to 14.
Right? 14. Yeah, that would be under the current leveling system. That would be perfect. So levels 1 to 14, you can only queue with people that are level 1 to 14.
That's a good idea.
That'll keep the vast majority of the sweats out. Yep.
Yeah, so I've been saying something similar. I've been saying I think High Roller. I think you get rid of High Roller. I think you just make it veteran queue for just whoever is level 20 and above. We're all in the same pool, and then you have the pool of people leveling characters 1 to 20. And to go a step further, someone recommended in chat the other day that you make it so during this leveling queue, you cannot go in geared. You're just going with base kit. Everybody's base kit. You could take loot out, but every time you go in, you're going with a base kit, so you don't get these crazy gear disparity, feel bad moments for these new players.
I don't mind that. I think just having a 1 through 14 queue, even if you've taken gear, fine. But I think they should adjust gear drops for that particular queue. Like I don't think you should be finding fucking purples and shit in the level 1 to 14 queue. But as soon as you hit 15, you go into the regular queue because you have 4 perks at that point. And then I think High Roller should be reworked and revisited from top to bottom.
Get rid of it. Just get rid
of it and just have, like, approach it sort of like Diablo 2's difficulty system, normal, nightmare, hell. Have the 1 through 14 where that's the noobs, and I'm sure there's going to be Smurfs. I know, like, no matter what system you implement, there's going to be some counter to it, right? But yeah, levels 1 through 14, you're in your own queue. Smurfing aside, whatever. I think it'd help a lot for the new player experience. Then 15 and on, you're just in the regular queue, and there could be juicy people or not. And then there should be a similar to High Roller type mode where it's your best gear. You go in, most of the enemies are red, some of them are black. You can get named items. But how to implement that without some gold cost or, I don't know, keeping players from attempting it because it's easier just to farm people in normals. I don't know what that is yet. I'm literally just spitballing here.
So I think if you just keep everybody in one queue, I think it makes it better. So right now, High Roller is miserable.
One queue?
Well, besides the 2 queues, the new player queue and the veteran queue.
Oh, okay.
Pre-14, post-14. But once you're at max level, everyone's the same queue. I don't think you want to separate the High Roller player from the normal players. Sure, you're going to have lobbies where you have these sweaty dorks running over lobbies. But as it is right now, like if you're just like someone, you're a decent player, you're a solid player. You and your team, I bet you're not queuing for a High Roller right now. I don't think you want to either. I'm guessing, right? Have you been playing much High Roller?
I'm not.
I haven't been a High Roller once in 2 weeks.
Yeah, because right now, if you do a High Roller
in there, I'm scared.
You're bringing you and your friends into a team, environment where it is nothing but hammers. You're running into me, running into Jay, you're running into only top players because that is the only people queuing.
It's their
But I wasn't. I wasn't scared to go in there until the leaderboard started. Once the leaderboard started, then it was like, okay, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, but at least everything is one lobby. At least these really good teams we're diluted. We're spread out amongst the larger player base. So you'll go 5-10 raids without running into a hammer team who's just running over a lobby. So it will reduce the amount of field bend moments. People will be able to play high roller. That's just my kind of 2 cents. I also think a continual high roller leaderboard grind is just unhealthy for games in general. I think having a 2-week grind sesh is miserable. I watched Jay last night, like
he looked rough.
Miserable. I feel bad for that guy. Because I've been that guy. I've been grinding for the rank 1 spot. I've been in his shoes. I'm like, I know how bad you feel right now, and you feel the pressure because someone's on your tail, and you feel like you have to do 20-hour grind sessions every day, and yeah, he's not having fun. I feel bad. Yeah. I think it's unhealthy. I think you could do time slot for leaderboards. I think you could do weekend leaderboard sessions, or weekend high rollers, or 8-hour fucking brackets, where we're tracking set for these 8 hours on this day. Go grind, boys. Go have fun. But having a 24-hour, 7 days a week for 2 weeks grinding session, someone's gonna die. It hasn't happened yet, but someone's gonna pass out on stream, and it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm worried about it.
Yeah, we'll
take care of yourself, Jay.
Yeah, high roller mode. It's no good.
It wasn't an issue till the nerfs. Now they're scared because now they have to comp change. Now they're getting killed.
Or how about this? I mean, what if they go back to the multiple map system where you start ruins, then you go into crypts, then you go to hell, and you don't like that?
I hate that. I think the 22-minute map cycle is so much already. And if we add a whole nother layer, already going to Inferno, it's almost always empty. Maybe in HR, you have one other team there, but in norms, it's almost always empty. People are still trying to learn. If we had a third map cycle, no one will ever survive to round 3.
Well, the only way that would ever work, the only way that we could ever implement it is if you're populating lobbies from other lobbies. If you start ruins with 20x players, whatever, then you go to crypts, and then that crypt lobby is being populated by other lobbies of people who went down red in ruins, and vice versa down to Inferno. I think that system could work. I think that wouldn't be bad. I think they're having issues implementing that because that's originally what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I used to think it was a great idea.
I think it would be fine as long as you're populating lobbies. Well, we didn't test it. We didn't test it.
Well, we tested it going ruins to crypt, and it was already a nightmare.
1 week.
Not even.
Yeah, it wasn't
that
even
is the most important
like
thing.
2 days.
All right, we'll run it back. But initially, that was horrible. Like nobody was crypt, everybody was dead on ruins. I mean, there were other issues. It was also a brand new map, but I don't know, like the time of it. When I finish bossing right now, I'm like, we did it. Like I just completed a full map cycle. I can breathe. I have to sell all this stuff. Now it's like 10 minutes in trade and prepping. When you put another map there, like I think it's a really sweet spot right now. I think rather than having 3, let's add 1 to ruins, and let's add 1 to goblin. Like
just separate tier 2s for
separate tier 2s, and then there's like 2 portals there, or 3 portals, especially since it's solo or duo. So there's like, let's say 6 blues in whatever the ruins goes to, and then like 2 blues whenever goblin goes to, and just put like the bosses there. It's like a pretty small map, maybe like 3 modules.
That sets you up nice for map rotation too. If all maps are kind of created equal in that fashion, to where every map has a blue and red portal option that you can go down to another level, then map rotation becomes a much more viable option.
Yeah,
especially if they're set up in a way that you can do solo, duo, or trio. Which it seems like duos works fairly well on ruins. At least my experience. I think it's fine.
Yep.
Even though it's a pretty big map.
Fun.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe you tweak Goblin a little bit so that it feels better for at least duos. So as long as each map can be at least 2 of the 3, I think you're in good shape, right? If Crypts could be a duo map and a trio map, and Ruins can be a duo map and a trio map, and Goblin can be a solo and a duo map, right? Then you add 1 more map and down to the mix, which would be another solo duo combination. Then you can just start rotating 2 sets. Your solo duo, which you can go back and forth on, and then your duo trio, go back and forth and rotate those, and both of them give you an option to go down. I think that gives you a lot of flexibility, and it keeps people in the queues. It keeps the queues populated.
That's a great idea, actually.
I think questing too, like the Forever Optimist SBS, I feel like when we get questing, it's going to force you onto certain maps. If you want like X loot or Y loot,
that's true.
That's everyone's going to rotate, because like I really feel like probably it's going to start with Goblin, and then we're going to go to Ruins, and then we're going to go to Crypt, or like they'll just be better maps because certain maps have more skeletons or what have you. And so
I think
that's
it's
good.
going to be weird doing quests with a couple of buddies in crypts, and then the quest chain is going to take you to ruins where it's duo only. I think
Like
they
that,
need
sorry,
to.
Sobe, find your own team. We got to go get this ruin quest
Yeah,
done. Or
sorry,
we're
buddy.
dropping you. We're dropping you.
You hang out at
Yeah.
the tavern, buddy. Yeah. No, I think
Well,
I
if
think
we
they
can
need to
trade for
have.
them, you know, like you mentioned on your podcast, if you can trade quest items and if you die,
Yeah.
you drop them on the ground. Like for me, all the items they recently added, you know, Grave Essence, Demon Blood, all that stuff, it's already tradable. So it wouldn't be that hard to make quests be tradable. And then the intrinsic value of those items could go up significantly. Why sell Demon Blood for 70 when I could sell it to a player for 250 because they're on their epic quest line and they get, you know, like a random purple weapon if they turn it in. Then now we
Right.
got gambling too. People love to gamble.
Yeah, I think quests are gonna do a lot for this. I think quests are the most important thing they could add to the game right now. If
Same.
I could choose one thing, I would say quests. I think Tarkov quest system keeps people entertained for so long. It's great for the new player experience. Even if like you're a new player and you're getting destroyed in Tarkov, if you just are doing quests, you feel a sense of progression and it keeps you engaged for a long period of time.
I agree, but I think more importantly, the talent system is the thing that's going to keep the longevity of the game going for years.
That would be
years
my
to
number
come.
two. That'd be my number two.
I would say quests can get stale because then you have to constantly put out new quests, right? But I think if they integrate the talent tree system soon, and I'm hoping that is essentially going to be subclassing. Like we've seen, like World of Warcraft talent trees, right? You have 3 different trees, and there's branches on each tree. You got to pick if you're going to be a prot warrior or a fucking fury warrior, dual wielding. You guys get it. I think that the talent tree should have multiple branches. Maybe there's like 30 or 40 talents that you can choose from, but you only have 20 points, right? And I think having, and maybe no respecs or only one respec. I know that's controversial to say, but I think that having to make multiple characters and test out builds and get to level 20, unlock that talent tree, and then test out talent builds is going to have people playing this game for years to come. They're going to want to have, they're going to have 3 fighters. One's going to be their tanky boy. One's going to be their 2-hander. One's going to be a weapon master specialist that uses bows and crossbows more often.
Crystal sword,
a magic damage fighter. Like, yeah, I feel like the talent tree system and hopefully subclassing will be attached to that is going to be the thing that really gets people excited, testing out new characters, testing out builds. Because questing, it's almost equal in terms of importance, in my opinion. But I think people are going to keep coming back to the game if they have build diversity options, not necessarily
100%.
like, okay, I can do this quest in the ruins and then go to hell or something. But yeah, questing is going to be fucking fun. We all want quests, so
I just like having a direction to go.
Yeah,
sure.
Like, especially for us because we can mix and match.
Yeah, like the gameplay loop is great. Like it's a great gameplay loop. Like very few games have a better gameplay loop, in my opinion. But sometimes when I just log in, I don't have a team. I'm like, what am I gonna do today? I just go hit ruby silver nodes. And that's what I do when I don't have anything to do. That's like that's my personal quest. I go hit rocks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I had a quest to hit some rocks, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so quests, new player experience, talent tree. Those are the 3 directions we'd go in if we were Iron Mace.
I'm not sure if this is a hot take or not, but I would want them to pump the brakes on implementing more classes at the moment. I feel like I know people want Druid, people want Paladin, people want Punk. You could do it before. I don't either way, but I think we should focus on these like skill trees and quests, and then add classes on top of that in the future. I think they're getting too caught up in adding classes.
I'm with you.
They need a content. They need a content drop bad. That's I think they need a new map. They need a new boss. They need quests, and they need a soft launch of talent trees in the next 4 months. Is my opinion, or they're going to be in some trouble with. Yeah.
Damn, that's a hot take.
I think they could skip the map and be
okay. I think every quarter we do a content drop. I don't think we're getting talent trees for a long time, boys. We already can't balance the 8 we have, and we're about to have 9. Why would we throw a talent?
I said a soft launch of it. A soft launch of
it.
So.
I like the soft launch. Yeah, especially if it's prestige, because then we have a reason to level past 15.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, give people a reason to hit level 20. Unlock something that's bare bones as fuck. It could be as simple as if I'm my level 20 fighter and I unlock the talent tree, it could be something as simple as arming sword gives me 1, 2, 3% extra action speed if I put these 3 points. Something
like
that
this
simple.
system.
That
Yeah.
simple.
Yep.
And then flesh it out later. Okay, well, the first iteration doesn't have the branches going very far down the talent tree, right? But eventually they unlock extra steps in the talent tree, which introduces new perks you can unlock, new skills you can unlock if you go down a certain branch far enough. That is going to be really important shit that will build really cool, diverse builds. That can come later. Just unlock the ability to click a square or two for some random talents, just to show people what that is. Get people excited about hitting level 20. Get them used to that sort of gameplay experience, 1 to 20. Have a couple of fun quests. Fuck it, throw the druid in. Give us some snowy mountaintop map, and that's enough. I know enough. That's enough. And I'm sounding greedy here, but in the next 4 months, I think that's fair. And I think they need to have a content drop before the end of the year, where people are going to get bored. Maybe not us, because we're uber nerds doing a fucking podcast, but an average person, the average player, someone who wants to play Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield and fucking play a game of League of Legends with their friends, or jump on Xbox with their gamer bros that want to play Call of Duty. They have, potentially split attention. And if they're just going into the dungeon to hunt down fucking naked rogues and there's nothing to do, and that's still the case in December, there's other games to play. There's other shit to do. Like, they gotta figure this out soon. And they need all of that implemented before Steam.
Before Steam, exactly. Before Steam. That's a big thing.
I like this. Let's end on this. This is a powerful take, and all of my chat agrees with Soma, and honestly, I like a lot of that.
Want to take a few chat questions before we go? Just to keep people
I'm
happy?
game. I'm game. Also, my chat said that the reason prison is laggy is because the dragon is under prison. They're just developing it still, so it's lagging that module.
Prison, that makes sense.
I like that
That's
one.
a hot take.
Yeah,
So
it's probably there. You just
question.
have to do a secret to figure out how to get there.
Question from chat real quick. Do you think clarity pots should be in the vendors? What do you think, Subby? Clarity pots, vendors?
Like, what are we gonna have? 3 grays and 3 whites, and they're on refresh every 30 minutes?
Yeah, 3 or 2, like a low amount, just so
I'm
people
okay with that. 3 gold for gray, 6 gold for whites. Like, they really don't do very much. Like, a single gray doesn't even give me 1 light heal back. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I think it would be good. As it is right now, I'm going into utility chat and I'm buying it for 10 apiece anyway.
I'm buying so many.
It's just a pain to go into utility chat. I'd rather just get them off the vendor when I can. You don't really need that many if you're just casually playing. So just 2 off the vendor every 30 minutes will be totally fine. I don't think it would be a problem anyway. Maybe it would be. I don't know. What do you think, Arcane? You think clarity pots on vendors would just be a net positive?
Yeah, if it's subject to the same rules as everything else currently is, I think that's fine. I'm pretty sure I never buy protection pots, but I think the Alchemist only sells green protection pots for 20 at this point. Is that accurate? Or does he sell other ones? Okay.
Only greens, yeah.
So, yeah, I almost never buy those. So, I don't know. Maybe you could do something like that. I know it's gonna benefit. So the clarity pots are gonna benefit the wealthier. But if you can still only buy like 3 every what's the reset? Is it 30 minutes?
30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine.
Yep.
I'm guessing somebody similar mindset. You think it'd be fine?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think they should already have that implemented. Yeah.
Now, what do you think about buying infinite gray items off the vendor? Like,
yes.
So frustrating situation. Sometimes when I die I'm a ranger, and I'm like, all right, well, got time to re-gear, and my woodsman doesn't have a crossbow on him, and I'm the crossbow only ranger guy. I don't use these filthy recurve bows. I don't use long bows. I go in with crossbows, baby. And sometimes I just can't play the game, and it's a little frustrating. I think everybody should always have the option to
access to all
buy
grays.
at least all grays, weak ass grays, just so you can play the game how you want to play it at all times.
Completely agree.
Yep.
Yeah. Fair.
All great. I mean, at least whatever your base kit is, just base gray. Anything should be available at all times. There's plenty of fucking room in those vendor inventories.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, and we can put pages on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Also, I think it's a little fucked up. Just a tangent. That on the armor and the weaponsmith, you can get blue items sometimes But on the Alchemist, you can never get a blue spellbook. You can never
that's
get a
correct.
blue
It's
staff.
true.
All I'm saying is Grayson is a fighter main, and I feel a little discriminated as.
You
a
never
player.
find
SDF is a
blue-
rogue main.
Well, I never find blue on the tailor or the leathersmith either. Like I never see
Yeah.
blues. Either
He's
one of
a
them.
fighter man, dude. He's a fighter man. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. I've seen his
It's
PvP video. He has
armor and
Fulgor and
weaponsmith,
Cinder.
Yeah.
Grayson's War, yep.
I got a question for you. Do you actually do crossbow mastery and whatnot as a ranger?
Yeah,
with
yeah,
crossbows?
yeah.
Okay, so does like quick reload and those abilities help crossbow mastery?
A
Quick
lot.
reload is the
No, no,
gain
no, no.
additional flat 50% action speed
No,
when reloading a bow
That,
type weapon?
that's bows only.
That's
Bows only.
bows.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So
What
what
did I
is
say?
the perk build for crossbow?
Crossbow mastery, trap mastery, the sharpshooter, and I take the footsteps.
Mhm.
The
Nice.
hunt down those little weasels.
I could see a crossbow ranger with spear being pretty fucking fun.
No, you use crossbow and windlass. You gotta have two
That's it.
crossbows. Gotta have
Okay.
the op.
Interesting.
6
Interesting.
ops.
Dude, so what we do is we play 3 rangers and with 6 crossbows. That's like our meme build. We have fun.
Gosh.
We run around because the windlass slow is crazy. It's like 25% slow. So you just hit him with 1 windlass and then he uses free pickons. 25%
Toxic.
armor pen. We're not using longbows. It's not toxic. We're ethical ranger players.
Counter meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
We got a question over here.
From your chat?
Yeah, I got a question from
Mhm.
Wilson's Game. He wants to know if anyone is enjoying duo queue mode on Ruins.
Yes.
I
It's
enjoy it.
fun.
I like that it's an
hate
option.
Ruins.
I mean, I don't like ruins as a map
Yeah, I will
in
never
general.
go
and
back there.
I don't think it's that bad. There's no loot there, which kind of sucks. But like, as yesterday, I didn't have a third for my team. I didn't feel like dropping into high rollers with 2 because that feels bad. And it was nice to just have the option to go to a duo map and play with one of my
okay.
friends.
Yeah.
That means, would I rather just have a duo mode for Crypt? Yeah, I would. But you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
honestly, in duo mode, I'd rather duo and crypt than go to ruin. Normal.
Mhm.
But I could 100% see them doing HR ruins, and it has a boss now. Also, Old Rusty Key does nothing, so obviously for HR ruins, Old Rusty Key opens the treasure room, like every other map has. I feel like that's in the works. They haven't said anything. I have no proof. I feel like every other map has an HR, and everyone asked for HR for Goblin, and we got it. And there's a lot of players, I imagine, who love ruins. So we
I
should
like
give
the map
them
a lot.
boss, and it needs a boss. Like there's already like 9 to 12 teams there. Put like a spider somewhere that can climb walls and spit webs,
Sure,
Boom.
sounds great.
and then I'd
Mhm.
probably want to go because then we have a place where we get loot from, and there'd probably be a shitload of teams running around screaming from fighting the spider.
Also,
Whenever I
let's,
play solo, I just play ruins or crypts. I hate goblin caves. I can't
too.
stand that map.
same.
The mob density is too much. Everything's poisonous. The verticality sucks. I hate the teaming and the fucking memeing.
Wait,
on
what are
the-
we talking?
on
Are we talking
void.
about HR Goblin?
Just
Normal
goblin caves in
goblin.
general.
Just
I just
normal.
I hate that map. But
mean-
ruins, if I'm playing solo, I typically just play ruins or crypts. I don't even touch goblin. But ruins is really fun. I mean, I quite enjoy the map. The only thing that sucks is the ground is so dark. You're constantly caught on rubble or a chest or something, and
Yeah.
that kind of kills the experience.
I
If
was
they
gonna
could
say-
fix that a little bit,
The grass. It's the
Yeah,
grass.
the
There's too much
grass
grass.
has
too
I
much-
get
too
it,
much
it's
rubble.
ruins.
I
Too much
get it.
rubble,
It's
too much grass.
ruins. I get that it's literally the ruins. And there's
Mhm.
going to be rubble and shit, but can someone fucking clean up the ruins a little bit? grab a broom,
Janitor, dude.
leave some fucking rocks to the side before the players come.
The skeletal
Yeah,
janitor.
Yeah, let's get him in. Get him out there.
Let's do a like a global event where if we contribute 1 million gold and 85 health potion or 8,500 health potions, ruins gets cleaned up a little
Yeah,
bit.
let's clean it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
let's clean it
go
up.
go green
the
on the
war
ruins.
effort. The war effort.
Yeah, the
for
war
you
effort.
and
Yeah.
yeah. Clean up the ruins.
Re-
Some town
rebuild
crier
the
with a bell.
castle.
Yeah.
I would like that though. You know,
Okay.
a lot of other games implement that. Like, let's do if 100,000 liches are killed in 2 weeks, everybody in the game gets 250 gold, like economic drip.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And it'd
some
be
shit
fun
like that
just,
would be
just
fun.
to track it, like just to look like how's the war effort today? I just woke up.
Boys,
Alright.
what's the next map?
None. Stop. Less
Yeah.
maps.
No,
Less maps.
more
No,
maps.
more but rotate. More but rotate.
Okay,
Yeah,
follow
okay,
me here. HR ruins, but it's like HR Goblin, where you've been practicing ruins your whole life, and you go HR ruins, and you're like, where the fuck am I? And it's just this whole ass other ruinous map where like the middle of the ruins is like collapsed, and now you have like a 6 verticality like that.
No
I'm
more
in.
verticality.
Verticality. Buff Rangers, more verticality.
I think Goblin Cave should always be solo, but I think there should be a solo, duo, trio queue for Crypts and Ruins and whatever the new maps are. Keep Goblin Cave solo forever. Fuck it, whatever. People can have fun stomping around in that shithole cave.
God, I love
But
that map.
I think if you could just turn on, like almost like PUBG, you pick solo, duo, or trio,
Exactly.
and then you just go into a map pool and it's randomized. Fuck yeah, that sounds excellent. I would absolutely love for that to be a thing.
Oh wait, that can't be a thing yet. There's certain things you have to take when you're doing certain things, and you would be fucked. Like if I take protection from evil for Goblin, and I get Crypt, now I can't boss. Because now the Lich
Well, Goblin Caves would be its own separate thing always.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, so
I'm in
Goblin
again.
Caves would always be a solo experience off to the side.
Okay, I'm down.
Yeah, I think map rotations. When I was like griping about less maps, I mean like let's not separate into more queues.
Right.
I think we could have more map diversity. We could
Max
have map
3
rotations.
plus new player.
Yeah.
Also,
The
make
max 4.
Colosseum a normal map again.
Yeah, I throw it normal.
Yeah,
that's
like
fine,
I like that idea. Like if you do, let's say we queue duos, and then I can either get Ruins, Crypt, or Colosseum, and they're all just like a duo map now. I think that is a really good idea. That would
Well,
also
they-
make
they
lobbies
just
fill up way
rotate.
faster.
rotate maps throughout the week. Like, this is the weekend ruins event. We're going. It's just ruins this weekend, or it's the Coliseum weekend, or this week is whatever XYZ map, different rotations. Just keep.
Or you
It,
do
we
like,
also keep it fresh too. Keep it fresh.
You can do
So
like
what-
Halo, where you're like, I don't want to play Ruins, so like
Oh,
allow
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like then I can do Crypt, and it tries to just put you in like a queue that doesn't have Ruins coming up.
So what kind of environment though? Next, what place would you guys like to visit? In
I
the
liked
Dark
your
and Darker
idea.
universe.
Yeah,
of the
the
snow.
winter, the snow.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I like
ice
Give me-
lane.
give me
snowy
a-
orc village or castle.
Dwarven dungeon, baby, and I want a dwarf race.
Yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to see an old dwarvish city, like the Mines of Moria kind of map. I would
Exactly.
love to see the sewers under the tavern. I would like to see a well-lit elvish forest at dawn or dusk, where you're
That's
actually
lovely.
fighting. That would be so cool. You're actually fighting humanoids, like there's elven archers coming to attack you instead of skeletons or whatever. You're trying to encroach on elvish land, so they're trying to run you out of the forest. I think
Drow City with a
undead-
lot of neon fairy
Drow
fire
City in the
light.
Underdark.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be so cool.
So
Yeah.
cool. Dark elves. I think a medieval village being overrun by the undead that's on fire, and you have to escape the village would be really cool. I would like a mage tower where you have to keep going up the tower, and the rooms get smaller at the higher you go up,
That'd
so
be
you're
cool.
forced to fight. And there's only like 3 portals at the top, but
It's
10
a,
people
it's a
start.
wizard tower.
Wizard tower, sure.
That's a Warlock tower for sure.
I think a like volcanic map would be really cool. There's so much they could do, man.
I mean, they like Dungeons and Dragons, so we know we're gonna get
Yeah.
a lot of really cool stuff, and that's
Yeah.
why, like you said, the past couple of years it's been like a little trust danger in the gaming industry, especially as we move toward sort of mobile gaming tendencies finding their way to PC. But Iron Mace is slaying this shit, and they should keep going. And now that we know what's coming to consoles and mobile and probably Steam, like we're ramping. We're ramping. We're in
I'm glad you
greens and we're
said-
on our way to blues and purples.
Agreed. I'm glad you said console. One last thing, because I know we're getting way past time here, but has anyone tried to play the game on controller yet?
My teammate for the tournament played with an Xbox controller and we did great. So I would have
Wow.
always said it wouldn't work, but he swears by it and he's a good player. So I trust him.
Who
He is
played controller on your team?
Kingdom of Machine as a wizard, no less. And he never hit me
Holy
once.
shit.
Wow.
Never hit
Cool.
me. He landed fireballs over my shoulder and killed enemies. Like I was
Alright,
impressed.
alright.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
That name
Yeah, I mean,
is
Steam is going to be huge, but my God, if they do cross-platform and they get PS5 and Xbox going, like
Holy
sky
shit.
is the limit. Like,
Oh my god.
holy
Imagine our
cow.
queues.
Mhm.
Even HR and just fucking send it.
Imagine all
God
these
damn.
cringe rogue players on controllers now.
Then we can cry about aim assist. Like, it'll be fine. Anytime I die, I'll be like, fucking Ranger. He's probably on console.
Yeah.
You know, you go spectate him and he's got a PC thing, and you're like, no way.
No
Sounds
way,
like a
dude.
nightmare. Oh my god.
Yeah, whatever gives them money.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Iron Mace hasn't done anything with their cosmetic shops, like no more blue torches or anything, because I feel like we want to give them money as consumers. We want to buy things and support their
Yeah.
brand, but they haven't given us anything in the cash
They
shop.
have to be careful with that. It's perception's reality. The timing is very important. They just launched
True.
early access, right? They asked people for $35 or $50. They are 2 or 3 months into the second month of EA now. If they put development time, even if it's just one guy on the team, like they're still developing the game, getting Druid ready, fleshing out Warlock, building a new map. Even if little Timmy over here is the only dev working on cosmetics for the store, and they release something that is purchasable in the store, people will get upset because this is an EA game and you guys still have so many features that are fucked and it's not balanced and you guys got to fix rogues. Why the fuck is there a new torch color for sale? This is fucked up. Is this what you're concentrating on? That's the perception that gamers will have.
Yeah,
Even if it's not true. Even if it's not
Right.
real.
Right.
People will
That's
fucking
true.
think that. So you have to be careful with how you roll shit out these days. Because one kid crying on Twitter turns into a fucking crybaby post on Reddit, which turns into fucking 18 people talking about it in the fucking Discord general, which snowballs into a larger conversation. Then everyone thinks Iron Mace is a bunch of fucking thieves trying to steal money from kids.
No, I hear
for
you.
the
You're not
pink
wrong.
torch. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just want an excuse to give Iron Mace more resources so they
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
get more people on their team
Yeah.
so they can do more stuff. Because I just want the game to come on, let's get some content going, baby. Let me
Yeah.
let me help
That's
you.
the
Let me
most
help you.
important thing. Yeah, that's
Soma said
that's the
content
biggest thing.
before cosmetics. That's going to be the argument now.
It's a must. I mean, people will buy the cosmetics, sure, but they want to flaunt their cosmetics in at least 3 more maps with at least 2 more classes. Like they gotta time it perfectly. Not even perfectly. They just gotta time it right.
All right.
And to release stuff for sale right now would be a big mistake. It would just make them look greedy, and I don't think they are.
I don't think
Yeah.
they need to be either with consoles, Steam, and phone on the way. Like they're set. There's no way this isn't a $10 billion company in like the next decade.
$10 billion company from one game. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean,
We'll-
it's
we will
Riot
see.
Games exists, but that was League of Legends. But that is a very rare thing to happen.
Yeah.
I would invest.
I
if I
dig
could.
I dig the positivity though, because I do agree that Iron Mace could go the distance if they continue to walk this path.
Mhm.
They're going to move on to greatness. I don't know if they're going to be a $10 billion corporation in 10 years, but
No, that's
I
just
mean,
so bad
I'm
now.
just, man, if you look at Nexon and you look at a lot of the other Eastern gaming companies as they dip into mobile and other games, those are $10 to $50 billion companies. They're throwing around some weight. Nexon has 20 billion, and what have they made? Not a lot, to be honest. Not a lot.
That's a fair argument.
20,
Hey, man,
20 billion
it's
is a
worth.
lot of money, man.
yeah.
That's some schmeckles.
I'll be happy
Anyway,
with $1 billion.
so let's do one more map, 2 more classes, round it out. 5 maps, 10 classes.
Honestly, with classes,
Talent tree.
just fix Bard, flesh out Warlock, maybe release the Druid, and then slow down the other classes. Just
Agreed.
like you don't need to rush the classes. Give people something to look forward to next year. If all the classes come out in the next 6 months, that would be a big mistake. They got to start slow rolling the classes, but they need to really pick up the content drop.
Yeah, especially for
Yeah.
like a Christmas Steam release will be huge too. That's like a
Holy
huge
shit.
marketing
Oh, yeah.
move. So
100%.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that.
if they can get it together like by
And
Christmas
content
time,
drop. Yeah.
it would be huge.
Like December 13th, Steam release plus quests, plus new boss, plus talent trees. Like,
It'd be
let's-
huge. It'd
wow.
be amazing.
And
Yeah.
we get candy
Yeah.
back finally. We get candy canes.
Hell yeah, baby.
Gold key market.
What do you guys
drain.
think is going to be in the patch next week? I mean, they essentially said there's a patch coming in the next week, maybe 2, with the new player experience, with stuff that slows the game down, new content. What do you guys think it's going to be? I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but
I
really
didn't
don't
read
know.
that. They said new content was coming. I thought they just said they were slowing down gameplay and reworking Bard and fleshing out Warlock.
pretty sure that's what they said. Let me look.
Yeah, pull it up really quick because I didn't feel like that was a content patch. I just thought it was like a first.
Here it
I mean,
is.
I guess it's content if Warlock's fleshed out. That alone.
We
is
are
content.
currently looking into ways of slowing down the high tempo of the high-end game since it is much faster than we thought. Although we have some large changes in the works that specifically target the tempo of the game for the next week, we believe that we needed to address the current speed deathball meta in an urgent manner. We also plan to have a more extensive rework of the Bard class while starting to flesh out the Warlock in the future update, along with continual balance changes to better align with the skill. Okay, so maybe they didn't say enough content.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
Yeah, I just
My
wanted
apologies.
to make sure.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
That's
I think
fine.
I think it's coming, and I think it's going to be huge. Now that you said 4 months, I kind of agree with that because like they already said they're going to work on a quarterly system, and so probably we'll get one class a quarter, and then maybe a new boss, new map. I mean, obviously tournaments, guild versus guild, quests, all that stuff, talent tree. That's a lot of content, and I feel like most of that must be on the way. Like it's not too far, and then next year is like hideouts and maybe like actual formation of real guilds with tangible like trading or a hideout.
Yeah, that
But
stuff would be great.
yeah, we got a lot on the way. We all love it. We're gonna keep playing. No time for Baldur's Gate or Starfield here, boys. We gotta get back into the
Alright.
dungeons.
That's
Those games
right.
aren't going anywhere, dude.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right,
Soma,
sum up. An
it's
absolute
been a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
We're pushing on almost 2 hours here. We're a little
Yeah.
over time. It's all good though, but it's been fun. I can talk for another 2 hours if you guys wanted to. But
Yeah,
honestly,
this is awesome. I'm
No,
having
we
a great time.
We can't hold
We
Ken
get-
back. He's got to get back
Yeah.
to the leaderboard. Don't listen
dude,
to
I
him.
already gave up.
Leaderboards.
Yeah.
But I
we
agree.
have a
We
chat.
should
I'm
do
playing
more
normals.
crossover podcast action. I don't know if we did the formal introduction, but Soma, for those of for the benefit of those who don't know, you run the Darkest Hour podcast Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And people can also find you live streaming on Twitch at Soma, correct?
At Soma. YouTube is at _Soma. But beyond that, I'm Soma on everything else: Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all that shit.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome.
All
Yeah,
right.
this was very fun. I'm very, very pleased that there is another Dark and Darker podcast because this is ridiculous, but especially when we did not have the game, we were waiting and there was full on hopium copium everywhere. I would do the podcast, and then a few days later, I would like rewatch the podcast. 'Cause I'm like, I just want to like watch
Yeah,
a
geek
conversation about this and nerd about it while I play a TFT match or something.
Mhm.
And I'd listen to my fucking awful laugh, and I'd be like, please, someone else make a podcast. I can't listen to myself anymore. Fuck me, dude. And then you guys made a podcast, so thanks for that.
Hell
Hey,
yeah.
you set the way. We followed in
Yeah.
the footsteps of giants. And
Oh.
thanks to Arcane Armor and Ken Nabi as well for coming out every week. This is Wednesday's weekly Hold the Line. I'll see you guys for the next one, eh?
Next week, baby.
All
And
right.
yeah.
Cheers.
Later.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
We'll
guys.
see you guys.